Question 122. The ventricles of central nervous system. We start with the central canal in the spinal cord. Then it continues with the fourth ventricle. It goes cerebral aqueduct up to the third ventricle. Then you have two lateral ventricles, the first and second. Here you have a superior view. Here you have a lateral view. This is a coronal section through the brain. So you see the third ventricle and the two lateral ventricles. The fourth ventricle is pyramidal in shape. Here you see rhomboid fossa, which makes up the floor of the fourth ventricle, which is the floor. Rhomboid fossa is the dorsal surface of oblongata and pons. The roof is made up of the superior, middle and inferior peduncles, cerebellar peduncles. Superior and inferior medullary velum, and also the cerebellum makes up the roof. So here you can see cerebellum makes up the roof, superior medullary velum, inferior medullary velum. Then the peduncles. Now in the roof you have median aperture of the fourth ventricle, and you also have a lateral aperture here. The cerebral aqueduct is a narrow canal through the midbrain. Then you get the third ventricle. Here. So you see here is the third ventricle. The third ventricle is the ventricle in the diencephalon. The lateral wall, here you see a coronal section. The lateral wall is the thalamus. The floor is the hypothalamus. And the roof is the tela chorioidea. The anterior wall is the columns of fornix, anterior commissure and terminal plate. And here you have a supraoptic recess and infundibular recess. The posterior wall is narrowed when you get close to the cerebral aqueduct, and it projects as pineal and suprapineal recess. Now the lateral ventricles goes through the entire hemispheres, one in each hemisphere. And they go through all the lobes except the insula. You have an anterior horn, central part, posterior horn and inferior horn. The anterior horn has corpus callosum as the roof. It has septum pellucidum as medial wall. Here. And it has head of caudate nucleus as a lateral wall. Caudate nucleus. Now the central part also has corpus callosum as the roof. It has tela choroidea as the medial wall, and it has the body of caudate nucleus as lateral wall. Now the inferior horn also has corpus callosum as the roof, inferior horn, and it has hippocampus as the medial wall, and it has the collateral eminence as inferior wall. Lastly, the posterior horn. The roof is also corpus callosum. The medial wall is by calcar avis, and the inferior wall is by collateral eminence. And the third and lateral ventricles are connected, there's an opening called left interventricular foramen that connects these ventricles.